Hello, hi, Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to SEL 151. Okay, so today we are going to continue with chapter 2A, 2B, and 2C. Okay, I have explained about 2A and 2B, but I haven't explained about 2C. So 2A and 2B is just more on recap so that you guys will be understand on how to use the traditional sources and what is non-traditional sources and a few more things about the traditional sources, right? So let us begin. For 2A, as you know, the sources is actually where the information's gained by the reporters. Okay, so there are two types of it, traditional and non-traditional. The traditional sources are the persons that can be contacted through any assignments or any connectivity, any connections, any networking throughout the games or the events happening. Okay, and for example is I put there coaches, parents, athletes, club officials, doctors, physios, trainers, and former players. While the non-traditional sources are information that we get from non-human. Okay, for example, we do surveys, polls, we have content analysis. So this is what we call as non-traditional sources. So basically, I put coaches as the first traditional sources is because most of the players or most of the athletes, they spend most of the time doing training. So they spend a lot of time with their coaches or their coach, right? Then the second one is parents, the athlete itself, and the last one is camaraderie among the reporters, which results in friends that we make in reporting a team. For example, I'm from the Utusan Malaysia, and I got friends from Berita Harian and also Malay Mail. So we are friends, so we share information like together. Okay, right. So this is a how we want to cultivate and we want to maintain our sources. First, we have to make ourselves known. We have to create a good rapport with the person or the sources that we try to get in the information with. Okay, we need to make ourselves familiarized. People should know us as reporters, as someone who write a spot report. Okay, so that they will feel comfortable when they're sharing the information. Okay, next we have to be very pleasant. You have to smile a lot. You have to be a very cheer up person. You cannot be someone that has a very negative vibe. So because when you're becoming negative, people have the tendency to feel uncomfortable with yourself. Right. Number three, you need to be very considerate. I know that becoming a newspaper reporter, okay, we have a deadline. So you should plan for your report write up. Okay, but if happen to be the event happens maybe 2 hours before your deadline, so then you need to have the information. Then you have to apologize and say sorry that you have to disturb them at certain hours to get the information. Okay, so um, all this come back to yourself and your soft skills. You have to create a very pleasant characteristic in becoming a journalist or reporter. Okay. Number four, you need to be a very good listener. You shouldn't just simply ask questions and keep talking without listening to them because it's their information that you want, so you be a good listener. Number five, don't ignore the underlings, where you should know that the sources is not actually talking about the prime sources, but also the linesmen, the referees, the technical team who involved in a tournament, event, or any competition. They are also very important because they know what is happening there. So don't forget or don't ignore them. Be very straightforward. Ask whatever you want to ask. Do not be like manipulating your statement. You don't do that. So be very straightforward. If you want to know about something, just ask about that simple thing. Don't manipulate your statement because some of the writers used to manipulate other people's statements. This is a very unethical thing to do. Okay. Right. To be, now we are entering the interview. The interview is where we want to create a situation where we want to get the information from the sources that we have, which is the traditional sources. Okay. So there are 5 journalist techniques for an effective interviews. First, you need to do a research about who are you going to interview. Why you need to do a research? So that you have a good point to create the conversation. It will not be awkward. If you did not do a research, then you do not know what to talk about with them, and you don't know how to talk with them, and you didn't know also what is their sensitivity, or the things that they don't like, or what are the things that they like. So when you do research, you can like create a very good connection with them. It seems like you know them very well from the research. Okay. Number two, scope out a solid location for an interview. You need to create, or you need to, sorry, not create, create macam susah pula kan. You need to set a good place, a good location for the interview, so that the people will feel comfortable. Takkanlah nak buat interview dekat McDonald's, because we know McDonald's is comfortable, but you have too many people there. There will be noises, there will be barriers for you to be a good listener. So please scope out a very good location for the interview. Number three, please write down your questions. Some of us, we tend to have the tendency to feel like, oh, I really know what I'm going to ask. But when it comes to the interview session, you'll tend to forget like every single thing. So when you forget, and then you try to when you do the person in front of you will feel uncomfortable. It seems like, hey, are you not prepared for this interview? So they will be feeling offended. So don't do that. Write down your questions so you don't miss any questions that you want to ask. And it is very important for you to write so that you get the key points about what you're going to ask. Okay, number four, use a recording device so that you could fully engage with the conversation. We don't do writing during a conversation or during the interview. For example, it's like this. If I'm interviewing you right now, okay, so where do you live just now? Oh, okay, wait. I need to write that. So that thing can cause a very awkward moment, and the other person will feel like you're not being friendly enough with them. So when you have a recording device, you just put it there, you record, and you can just simply talk and engage in that conversation. So the other person will definitely feel very comfortable because they think that you are having a conversation with them. Instead, you are creating a point where you want to get the information. And number five, you need to transcribe your recording to make sure that you don't miss anything good. So when you go back home, listen back to the recording so that you can come up with a point that you want to write about. So there are the 5 journalist techniques for effective interviews, right? So types of spot interviews that you need to know. We have a desk interview, one-to-one, and face-to-face. Then we have telephone interview. I have an experience where a Cosmo journalist called me to know about parkour. At that moment, parkour was quite popular. So I need to tell a little bit about parkour. What is parkour? How it's done, and how to do it. Do you need to be physically fit? Okay, so we have telephone interviews. We have background interviews where we want to study about the person background, about the history of him or her playing a sports, and the competitions that they join in, what are the achievements that they get. So this is the background interviews. And we have a question and answer interview where we ask questions and we need the answers to. There is basically questions and answer interview. You can see that in Meletalk, in what you call scoreboard. So that is questions and answer interview. Okay. This is the methods for information gathering handling, which is how to quote, how to come up with how to cite a person's statement. Okay, so there are 4 types of it. First is direct quotation, where we put exactly what the person said or what are the phrases and sentences. For example, okay, I am the interviewee. So the person who interviewed me asked me about what is parkour. So I come up with a definition. I said parkour is a sport that use it's a very new sport played by male and female, and you should have a very strong apps to play parkour, for example. So that when the interviewer or the journalist try to quote it, direct quotations from my statement, he or she will quote exactly what I said. So that is direct quotations, where we put a direct quotations from what the person or the interviewee said. Okay, and then we have indirect quotations. Indirect quotations is actually where we um, adjust a little bit on the statement. For example, I said that parkour is a game played by male and female. So this journalist might write it as parkour is a new game played by any gender. Okay, doesn't have to put male and female because male and female is a direct quotation. Instead of that, he or she put it's a game that can be played by any gender, right? So that is indirect quotations. And then we have a fragmentary quotation where we combined a direct quotation and indirect quotation. So we put it in a sentence where, okay, Elias Ain said that parkour is a game that can be played by male and female, and it can also be played by children. That is not my statement, but it's a fragmentary quotation. It comes from a combination from my statement and other people's statement. Okay. And then number 4 is the dialogue quotations. This is very basic. Whatever I said, whatever dialogue that I speak up is used in the report. So that is the dialogue quotation. So there are 4 types of it. How are we going to put on the quotations? First is direct, indirect, fragmentary, the combinations, and dialogue come from a conversation. Okay? Right. Now we're going to chapter 2C, which is the observation. Alright. Most of us think that we can be a very good observer, but it's actually not that easy. It's really hard to become a good observer without being noticed by people around us. And it's really hard to be an observer that have a very neutral thoughts and understanding towards a situation or a person. Okay, being an observer, you need to be very, very, very neutral about what you're saying, what you're seeing. Okay, and you need to be very critical in how you judge things. Okay. Okay, so a writer's observation will definitely create a different routine story and story readers have delight in reading, because observation is come from your opinion or your view. So you need people to understand your view and create your view in terms of their view. So it's really hard to do. Okay, observation is an action. It involves watching something or someone in order to gain information. Some of the journalists, they also become like a spy. They need to go to every event that their subject is going to. They need to observe what are the attitude or the characteristic that the subjects have. So they need to come up with all this by doing observation. Okay, so they need to be unnoticed, unobtrusive, and they do not influence the outcome of the observation in many ways. So first of all, what you need to do, determine who or what you intend to observe. For example, if I want to observe on Azizul Hasni Awang, so then I have to follow him, or I have to observe his characteristic, his personality, the event that he's in, the competition that he is in. So I need to do that. Okay, when and where this observation occur, at what tournament, at what competition, at what event, where it happens, and when is it? Is it now? Is it another month? Is it another 2 months? Okay, so you have to do that. And then you have to develop a set of guidelines and how to carry it out, because you can't just simply go and observe and doing nothing, watching. No, you need to create a guideline. So after you have go to this event, what will you do? After you watch this, if you saw this, what you need to do? So you need to create that guideline. So that is why observation is not an easy strategy to do. Okay. Number 4, you need to prepare the recording sheets. Okay, you need to record like every single thing that is happening. Taking picture, because it is a part of observation, so that you will remember, because sometimes if you don't take picture, you tend to forget about what is happening. And then you need to practice the art observation for oftentimes, so that you become a pro. Every single thing that you do definitely need a practice. There is no thing that we can just simply master it in one shot. No, you need to, every single thing that you do, even studying, you need to do a practice about it. So you need to keep on doing it, you need to keep on repeating it. So once you fail, you learn how to improve yourself. So actually, I don't say that what we call failing is not something bad. It's actually good for improvement, because you know where you did wrong, so you can improve on how to do it well. Okay, so yeah, you need to practice more. Right, so that is all that we have on chapter 2. We have the traditional sources, and then we have the interviews, and then we have the observation method. So all these are very, very important as a reporter in order for gained information and to write a very good story and a good news and report. Okay, so I hope that you guys understand this. If you don't understand, then you can just simply ask question in a WhatsApp group, or during the meet sessions that we're going to have. Okay, so I guess that's all. Don't forget to watch, don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So I hope to see you guys on the next class. Okay, with that, Assalamualaikum. Bye bye.